Miscarriages are hard, and it's one of those things that if you are someone who went through it or are going through it, it's not something you want to go through publicly and don't want to. You just want to deal with it privately because there's so many emotions, so many feelings, so much pain. And that's typically how I go through hard things. I'm not, especially on social media, I'm not super public about the inner workings of what's going on in my life. But I just felt like this is something that I needed to put out there, even in the midst of going through it, because I know I'm not alone, and I know despite how lonely it does feel and how awful it feels, that there are women out there who have gone through this, who are going through this, who will go through this. And I just want you all to know that you are not alone, that your pain and your emotions and your horrible feelings and the grief is real, and it's okay. I found out on Tuesday that the baby had died at an ultrasound, and it was pretty evident quickly that the ultrasound tech could tell right away something was wrong, and I had kind of suspected it prior to my appointment, but of course I'm hopeful. And those words, "I can't find a heartbeat," are just so painful to hear. And I'm sitting there trying to hold it together and not break down and start bawling. And I'm fighting the urge to get her to check again. You see this tiny little lifeless body, and all I could think about was CPR, resuscitate it somehow. Give me an electric shock, something to, like, how can you just see this tiny little lifeless body and not want to try to bring it back to life? Or, it's just such a hopeless feeling. And then the other day to come home, and as a mother with a toddler and a little baby, you never have privacy. So I'm in the bathroom going potty, and I hear my little daughter ask, "Mommy, why are you bleeding out of your bomb?" And it's just those things that you go through and you have to live through with your family. And this is Vivi's first real experience with death, and that's what I told her. I said, well, the baby inside mommy's belly died, and so she has to bleed. And then later on that night, she's processing it, and she asks, why do you have to die? Why does the baby in your belly have to die? And so obviously I'm trying to think, how do I age appropriately work through this with my daughter, and she's almost 3, and I just said, sometimes that's a part of life. At some point, everything has to die, and the baby's with Jesus. I think about all of the times in the Bible where God rose up people from the dead. Even in the Old Testament, God used Elijah to raise the widow's son back to life, and the little girl in the New Testament that Jesus rose from the dead. And the last couple of days, I just keep praying, God, that woman who was bleeding and had faith just that if she could touch your garments, she would be healed. I have that much faith and more, that you could raise this little baby back to life. and yet knowing that he won't, and just the whole struggle of I'm accepting what's happening, but it's not easy, and I'm not angry that I'm going through this, but it still hurts and it sucks, and it's just so not fun. I just want women to know, just kind of like when I was going through those 6 years of infertility, that and infertility is another thing that people don't talk about very much because it's such a private pain. But more women go through this than we realize. And I want women to know that you're not alone in these losses, that there are safe people to talk to and reach out to. And I guess in all of this, that's the message that I want to get across the most, is that if you are going through this, or God forbid, if you were to in the future, that you can think back and know that I am a safe place to reach out to, no matter how well we know each other. If it's just a quick DM that says, hey, this sucks, and I know you know my pain, and I just need someone who's shared in this pain to know what I'm going through. That's something that I've been able to do with some of my friends, and I had a really good conversation with a close friend that has gone through her own miscarriages today. I've had a few friends that have reached out because they know the pain, and they're a safe place for me to go to. God has a purpose in this, and right now it just sucks. But yet there is hope and there is healing in God, and I know that, and so I'm clinging to that.